again, because the buildings and the tunnels and stuff, like I exited out of a building that was different than the one that I entered. So anyway, long story short, it took me like, I don't even know, like 10 or 15 minutes to find the right parking lot structure that my car was in. And yeah. And then I came home. So it was a busy little lunch afternoon experience, but also made me really grateful that I don't have to deal with that every day and that I just work from home and Uber Eats half the time.
It's a whole thing. A lunch outing. I love them, but yeah, it's a solid in LA as well. It's a solid 3 hour endeavor, at least, depending on what part of town it's in. 3 hours is like a low key estimate. If I'm only having to drive, say maybe like 20 or 30 minutes, which might be just a couple of miles, but by the time you find
Right.
parking, by the time you do the meet up with the friend and someone is inevitably running late, usually it's me, and you get
Yep.
there and sit down and like you actually want to be present and catch up with them, and then go back the other way and do it all over again, and you're like, oh, okay, now it's like 4 o'clock. Cool.
Exactly. Yeah. But it also kind of reminded me, like when I worked in an office, I would say maybe half of the time I would eat at my desk, but the other half I would go grab lunch with coworkers. And it was just like, 45 minutes or an hour where you're not at your desk and in a different environment. And it did make me appreciate the change of scenery. Like I rarely, if I'm eating lunch, most of the time at home, it's at my desk. Even if I eat at the dining table, it's like probably 15 minutes. Like, I eat really fast and then I, go
Yeah.
back to my home workstation. So yeah, it kind of did make me realize that there's value in like having or giving yourself like an actual lunch hour, which I feel like a lot of times we don't do anymore, especially if you work from home.
Yeah, gosh, the fantasy of the European lunch hour, being working in an office in Paris and walking down the street and going to a bistro and
Mm.
having, I don't know. And of course, again, this is a fantasy. I have no idea if people in Paris, like working professionals, are actually doing this on a regular
Yeah.
basis.
They're not having a glass of wine and a cigarette every day with lunch. I don't know.
Exactly. I hope some of them are. I hope that is still a Parisian European habit that is going strong for some people. But yeah, I do something similar with if I'm eating at home, which I am most of the time on a work day. I will. I was good for a while about actually not taking my computer down to eat with me and just deciding, okay, I'm either going to read or listen to a podcast or maybe even watch
Mm-hmm.
something, and just not look at a screen in the same way that I look at a screen for most of the rest of the day. And yeah, lately it hasn't been happening. I'm having my sad desk lunch at home, which,
Yep.
yeah, is not, it is certainly, it's being at home is nice, but having coworkers and having that collective sense of, okay, we're all going to take a break and like just, sort of release the shackles for 45 minutes or an hour if you're lucky, is a lovely ritual that I love doing in New York. Walking
Yep.
down to the
It
Whole
was very
Foods at
easy.
Columbus Circle. Yeah,
Easy
exactly.
in
And
New
like,
York. Yeah. Well, it also makes you realize that 45 minutes, I don't know, like I feel like when I'm going and grabbing lunch with someone, 45 minutes of conversation, I'm like, we're good. Like we've
yeah,
discussed a
that's
lot. Like
more than enough.
I mean, that's how long we talk. And I'm like, okay, yeah, my social quota for the day is full. But it guess in some ways, like 45 minutes with a person conversing feels like an event and it feels like a longer period of time in a way, like when you're actually doing it versus 45 minutes. I mean, that can be as long as it takes to reply to an email,
Oh my
and it's
gosh,
like,
yeah.
so you're like, wait a second, like I could have actually had a whole meal and caught up with someone in the same time that it takes me to like read and respond to, a longer email. Yeah. It just gives you a different perspective on time.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of it also, yeah, 45 minutes with a friend or like a work acquaintance or someone that you like that you actually want to catch up with flies by.
Hmm.
And 45 minutes spent in front of your computer, right? Either trying to get that email out or I don't know whether it's, okay, this isn't enough time for me to really dial into this one thing, which is a habit
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to. I fall into the trap of thinking like, oh, I need 3 hours to focus on writing today or this morning or whatever it is. I need to dedicate this much time to this specific task to be a little bit more like, okay, 45 minutes, you know what? You actually can do a lot
Do a
in that.
lot. Yeah.
It doesn't it's if it's a matter of turning off notifications and throwing my phone in a different room and just being like, all right, we're not going to look at email, we're not going to refresh any of these various social media accounts and news websites and just
Yeah. We're just gonna
we're going to
focus.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
gonna
that's
focus.
a f-
Yeah.
and then it feels incredibly long. I'll have a timer running and just keep checking. I'm like, oh wow. Okay, 23 minutes have gone by. That feels like a long time.
Still not done. How are you? How are things on your end?
Well, I blow dried my hair.
It looks fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually am in need of a haircut, but I'm trying to stretch it out a couple of weeks longer. I'm keeping it together for now, but yeah, wash my hair, which is again an accomplishment
Congratulations. Yes. It is.
after putting it off for several days. And what else? I was doing some stuff around the house, and it occurred to me to ask you this because I don't know the answer. Are you the type of person who unloads the dishwasher all at once? Or do you sort of break it up into, okay, I'm doing stuff in the kitchen. I'm going to take out a couple of dishes now. And now I'm done with making coffee. So I'll come back. And when I'm in the kitchen again, I'll take out a few more dishes.
Oh, absolutely not. No, that sounds crazy to me because then like you can't even I feel like I'd forget if the dishes were clean or not. No, I'm definitely an unload all at once. Like you can always tell from the state of the dishwasher if it's clean or not because if like once it's clean, it is all removed immediately and then dishes slowly will get of course put back in. But yeah, definitely an all at once girl. What about you? Please tell me you're not the second.
I'm totally the second. 100% the second. I think I've almost always been like that. Unless there's some kind of urgency to unload all the dishes because some new stuff needs to go in. There's just, yeah, I break it into a chore that because I'm having breakfast at home and then we'll work for a little while and then eventually I'll have lunch and I'll be in the kitchen again. And there will be in the preparation of lunch, whether I'm toasting a piece of bread and making a sandwich or something out of it, or I'm throwing together a salad, there will be little interludes where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, now I'll take out. It won't be like that many different shifts, but yeah, it'll by the time the evening rolls around, it'll be emptied and done.
I mean, that's just I to me it just sounds wildly inefficient. Like emptying a dishwasher takes 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Um it's
yeah,
really like so that's why I'm like
you're
the
right.
idea of like opening it, closing it, opening I yeah, I would not. I mean, do you do other things like this? Like laundry? Do you
Oh gosh, laundry is a whole situation. Yeah, yeah, it is. I do. I This is a flaw. Or you could call it a character flaw. You could call it a quirk, whatever it is of mine. Where yeah, there are piles of folded clothes on in the room that functions as is a guest room and a gym that is next to our washer and dryer that contain sweatshirts and pants, and they've just been sitting there for months at this point.
that are unfolded?
No, they
They're
are
folded.
folded.
They're
They're all
folded.
folded,
Okay.
stacked up, but my other issue is that my chest of drawers does not have enough space to store
Yeah.
all of these things, so I just kind of, and no one is really using that room for anything except for working out, so I just keep them there. And I'm like, all right, yeah, it's not a tidy solution. It's not really organized at all. I do kind of know what's there, so
Hmm.
that's, I mean, yet another thing in my head. But yeah, laundry is something that doesn't really, like, I have what I need, but I'm not folding it and immediately after it's coming out of the dryer and putting it back in the place where it needs to be.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like doing it immediately either, but I try. I mean, I do fold it all in one sitting. Like I wouldn't, parse that out into different episodes.
Yeah, I look, I admit that it is a lot more efficient to unload a dishwasher all at once. And maybe I should try doing that more often than that, instead of just like, it's not like a task that anyone wants to come back to. I think it's a sheer matter of, in my mind, I think that I'm optimizing, which of course we're gonna
We're gonna
dive
talk
into
about, yeah. I was
in a
just thinking
little
about that. I was
bit.
like, that's probably what it, yeah, probably what it is.
In my mind, I think I'm optimizing because it's like, oh, I'm warming up a glass of water to have with lemon. Like, let me take out a few things, and then when I come back to make coffee, I'll take out a few more things, and that's I'm doing two things at once. I'm multitasking, but in reality, it's it's kind of scattered and not really complete.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just try it this way, try it my way, try it the regular, normal way,
The
empty it
regular
all at once.
person.
Yeah. Empty it all at once. See how satisfying it feels to be like, oh, I'm completely done.
I'm actually done.
I don't have to
Yeah.
revisit it after lunch and after dinner and after coffee and whatever other sessions you do it. Yeah, try to do it all at once. Your life will be better.
I think that you might be right. Besides adventures in home maintenance, I went to Rancho Santa Fe, which is. Have you ever been
Mhm.
there? Because you lived in San Diego, so it's
Yeah, I've been
about half an
there.
hour north.
I think I've been there. I've been to at least there's a spa I used to go to, but that was in a different town. It was in Rancho Bernardo. I mean, I know I've been to Rancho Santa Fe, but I don't think I've spent a ton of time there, but it looks beautiful. Did you love it?
I loved it. It was gorgeous. It felt like a little small town nestled in these, I don't know if you would call them mountains, probably not mountains, but nestled in the hillside, tons of equestrian trails, tennis, played a few rousing sets of tennis that left me with like a little bit of a lower back thing.
Uh-oh.
I know. I don't think I was not wearing the right footwear. I did not bother to warm up or
Wait,
cool down appropriately.
were you like serving in Birkenstocks? What were you wearing?
I was wearing Lululemon leggings and Lululemon sneakers, which are made for this particular type of sneaker. It's made for like whatever activity you want to do. It's supposed to be like a kind of cross training all around active shoe, but I do have specific tennis shoes that have
Mm.
more cushioning and more ankle support and would make a lot more sense in that situation, but whatever. I wanted to get out there and relive some of the frustrations that I remember from playing tennis in high school, where
Mm.
it's one of those sports where when you're just not, the negative self-talk that happens when you're not getting it over the net in the way that you wanted to. It's such, like many sports, I guess, it's such a mental game.
Mhm.
And it's very hard to think about anything else while you're doing it, which is a nice escape. But
Right.
but yeah, I not often am I in a place where you don't have to reserve a court in advance or,
Right. Go
go
through the
go through
whole
jump through several
rigmarole.
hoops. Yeah.
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 Oh, that's
It was
fun. Did you play with Nico? Or would you play
Yeah.
with the teacher? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And I played. Yeah. And actually the
Are you
other
better
thing
than him?
say that again?
Are you better than him at tennis?
Oh
Like,
God, no. No.
oh, really? I thought you
I
would be. I
wish.
didn't know he played. Okay.
And that also irritates me because I took years of lessons and have played for much longer than he has. He's never, besides an odd lesson here and there when we're traveling and take one together, he's never really played in an organized fashion, but he's just naturally more athletic than I am. So is able to hold his own where I'm, struggling to get the ball across the net.
Yeah, I mean, I think the same. I played for a long time, or for many years in like middle school and high school. I haven't really played much since then. And I feel like if I were to play now, if Juan and I were to play now, Juan would definitely be better than me. But I was hoping that you'd say you were better because that would be
Gosh, I wish.
cool bragging, right?
Something to aspire to. The other thing I will say about Rancho Santa Fe and the inn at Rancho Santa Fe specifically, we got there on a Thursday, and you usually we got you put our stuff down, checked into the room, which was beautiful. It was this like lovely kind of almost looked like an English country cottage, with a patio and a fireplace, and felt very like quiet and removed from Southern California, frankly. Like you wouldn't have known
Mhm.
exactly where you were, like felt quite remote. And before dinner, we go to the bar at the hotel to get a drink. And usually with that kind of vibe and this kind of place, that's like solid, like 5 or 10 miles from. It's not like near any major city, so you really do feel like it's kind of remote. We're expecting, it's going to be like a kind of like sleepy, like quaint bar scene, which is great, like
Yeah.
lovely into that. Uh, it was the most hopping hotel bar that I've ever seen.
What?
Multiple groups of women. Couldn't figure out. At first we were like, is it a bachelorette party? Is it a divorce party? Turns out one was, I think there were two separate birthday parties, and one had the theme of all, it was sort of like pink and black ballerina pink, black ballerina, like tutu type outfits. Everyone had different ones
Okay.
on. These women also all looked like absolute, they were gorgeous, they were fit, they were done up to the nines, they were wearing tiaras and carrying like all like Chanel and YSL and like all these designer handbags and very glittery, like 5-inch stilettos. There was a there was and this is the bar, by the way, looks like a very like kind of like club room, like
Mm.
cushy chairs, and like almost like the type of place you might find in like a centuries old social club or something like that.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
a place that matches the aesthetic. It feels very like old world. But meanwhile, you have these groups of women who are like popping champagne and one of them is the designated photographer and going around and taking a bunch of pictures of the birthday girl who had her tiara, and that's how we figured out that it was her birthday, with all of her guests. And then for entertainment, there was a musician on a keyboard who with a microphone who was belting out everything from Stevie Wonder to Pitbull to like,
Wow.
yeah, I think there was a Calvin Harris song. He was doing it all. He was doing
Sounds
it
like
all. These
you were
ladies were
in
getting down.
Yeah, it sounds like you were in Vegas or something.
It was truly one of the wildest bar scenes I've ever seen in a very unexpected place. And I was
That's
like, good for
amazing.
them. Like it
Yeah.
all, I will say it all ended by like 9 o'clock, which I was kind of hoping it would go on a little bit later, just fun people watching. But no, they were at it at 5 o'clock, and partied for 4 hours until the musician decided like that was it. He was done. And then they all packed up and left.
Honestly, that sounds like a dream. Like I want to go on a trip like that immediately where it's over at 9, you danced, you drank, you had fun with your friends, and then you just go into the elevator, walk down the hall into your hotel room and wash your face and go to bed. That's amazing.
It does
We
sound
need to do that.
amazing. It does sound amazing, actually. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the timeline of that of front ending all of the fun, and also getting like, yeah, it's I don't know. In my mind, I'm thinking about the woman who was taking pictures, and like you're gonna get much better pictures if that's like they were very concerned about the pictures and like making sure they got
Mm.
certain shots. So I'm like, yeah, you're gonna get it's all going to be better if you're doing that while there's still some light and you're not taking blurry camera phone things at midnight that you're never going to want to see again.
Did they look like they were Gen Z?
Oh gosh, no. They were elder millennials. They were
Oh,
our age,
okay.
maybe a little bit older. I would say they were like 40s, 50s.
Okay. Well, then I'm impressed because ending the night at 9 p.m. I feel like is more Gen Z behavior. I feel like elder millennials are the type that like, let's keep the night going and let's go find a next spot. And but good for
These
these girls.
were these were very I got a very Real Housewives kind of vibe.
Mm.
I think that
Hmm.
they yeah, I don't know what home looks like, but I think that they seem to have this routine down. I think they were locals that know that on Thursday nights the bartender told us like, yeah, every Thursday night is like this.
That's so
That's just what it
fun.
is. This is the spot. This is what you do. And funnily, yeah, enough, the rest of the weekend, Friday, Saturday, were much more chill.
Uh, well, that's a great way to start. I feel like I actually always like getting the crazy night done in day one. Like you're fresh, you're
Oh yeah,
excited, you're like, let's have a lot of fun tonight and then take it easy the rest of the weekend.
exactly. Then you can like recover from there.
Also, update in one of our prior conversations is that Spencer Pratt lost
I
while you
know.
were while you were in Rancho Santa Fe watching the ballerina women. They were counting votes and he lost. So he is officially done and not going to be the mayor of Los Angeles.
That's true. He lost. I haven't been following his what he's been saying about the runoff and the result, but I don't think this is the last that we've heard from him. I'm sure, especially given how much money he raised and the fact that he got this far, I'm sure that there's going to be another arena that we'll see him in probably sooner than later. Another
Yeah, that's
place,
probably
another
it.
off like yeah, I think I don't know. I do wonder what he's learned from this and what he's taking away. And I fully support people educating themselves and getting better, but I'm just curious. I wonder where his head's at.
Yeah, and I wonder if he will, because obviously the biggest criticism there were a lot, but the biggest thing against him is that he just had no experience, right? Like
Right.
he had really no professional credentials that would warrant him being suggest that he would be a good mayor, warrant him having a position like this. So yeah, I wonder if you're in a position like that, and you want it, do you then like try to build up the credentials, or do you just like kind of just keep doing the same thing and hope that it'll resonate more next time? Probably will. I imagine him doing the latter. I can't really
Yeah.
imagine him investing time in building up the credentials, but I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see. And I will say that, the despite the fact that he has no credentials, the way that he voiced concerns of people that the other candidates frankly weren't really talking about at all and not talking about in real terms. I am appreciative of that. Just talking about
Mhm.
safety and yeah, just making it clear that this is showing by the amount of people that came out for him that this is actually a priority among voters, and that these two candidates are now going to have to address that. So, if the purpose he served was to make the actually on paper qualified candidates talk about the things that people in and around Los Angeles are talking about, then great.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And obviously they're going to try to figure out a way to court, the people that voted for him. So they're going to need to figure out how they do that. But
for sure.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Well, should we talk about optimization?
We should talk about optimization.
Should we optimize our time on the podcast by shifting to our discussion topic of optimization?
Yes, as going from my incredibly inefficient dishwasher unloading in the name of optimization, like perversely, it's a heck of a leap, but I guess the tie between this and some of the articles that we've been reading and the debates that we've been seeing is that people are very concerned about how they can optimize, how they can make the most of the limited hours that we all have in the day, and whether every single thing in your daily routine should be in service of optimization, and whether we're like, where does fun and the joy of living fit into that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had definitely seen the talk online about Stephen Bartlett. Had you heard of this?
I had, yeah. He's the Diary of a CEO, right?
Yep, he's a Diary of a CEO podcast guy, and he made this comment. I haven't seen the episode. I've just seen kind of the recaps and the clips, but he makes a comment about how he had, I think, a couple of glasses of wine and how it ruined the next few days for him. Like he has a Whoop, but the Whoop tracking device showed that he wasn't sleeping well. He wasn't, performing well at the gym, like whatever. And so it was this very dramatic kind of like explanation for a relative, 3 glasses of wine, a few glasses of wine. Like, okay, yeah, I could see you being like, oh, I was tired the next day, didn't sleep well. But this like idea that it ruined the next 3 days and took him so off of schedule really got people talking about optimization, sort of in the sense of like, what are we doing here? Like, what is the purpose of this? Is our purpose on this earth, is our purpose in life to be the healthiest, best functioning physically and mentally beings that we can be? Is that really what we're trying to do here? Or is there, are there other things that we should be doing, which is having fun, like staying up late at night if the circumstances call for it, eating junk food if it feels like the right move in the moment, and like kind of embracing more things that even if it's temporary, that bring you temporary joy, rather than kind of discarding that stuff for the purposes of optimization. So I feel like that really highlights that there are a lot of people who, in the name of wellness and high functionality, are in some ways leading really sad lives. Look, it's totally fine if you don't drink, like, alcohol is not the only, habit at play here, but it's just this idea of everything, like the idea of a successful day or a good day being defined by, did I hit my steps? Did I, lift what I was supposed to lift at the gym? Did I feel as like productive and energetic as I need to be? That's just like such an exhausting way to live. So yeah, I thought the conversations about it, I think his comment started a lot of conversations about what are we doing here? Why are we prioritizing optimization so much? And I think we're starting to see a little bit of a backlash of it, of people saying, I'm not trying to optimize, like that's not for me.
Right. It's the thing I'm curious about, he had these 2 or 3 glasses of wine. Like, what? There must have been some reason, right? Was he out with his friends? Was he out with some colleagues? Was he having Was he having a good time? I mean, this is someone who seems to be incredibly ordered, obviously incredibly concerned about his output and being the on paper metrics best that he can be. Um, if you're choosing to have a glass of wine or two or three, I would think that there's something enjoyable in the moment. There's a reason that you're doing that. No one's like forcing you to do it. And so it's this sort of like puritanical guilt that I think I don't know if it's I don't know exactly if it's the wellness industry, if it's just something that is very embedded in our culture in general, but this idea that like, oh, I did this and now I have to atone for it, and I had a couple glasses of wine. Well, now I have to wake up extra early and think about the calories that I consumed and work those off and be really good for the next couple of days and get my sleep back on track. It's like that all sounds so exhausting and spirit diminishing. Just like what? Yeah, like what are we doing here? Are you really going to let this device on your wrist or your finger tell you how you're supposed to be living your life? I get the idea of an Aura ring or Whoop band or an Apple Watch sort of helping you get into the habit of maybe moving more if you haven't been doing that enough, or getting a little bit more sleep if you haven't been getting enough sleep. But after a certain point, the idea that like every hour and every minute needs to be you functioning to your fullest, I don't think that's first such a subjective definition, and it really doesn't leave any room for the unexpected, for spontaneity, for a just like a moment that you just enjoy and doesn't have like purpose necessarily attached to it.
Yeah, it makes it seem like we're operating like machines. Like that is our purpose, to be as efficient and as effective as we can be. And there was a New York Times article that you had sent me that we can link to in the show notes, about kind of the backlash that's happening. And one of the people interviewed was basically describing symptoms of anxiety that they developed from these tracking devices. Like it's like they started to take it so seriously, getting 10,000 steps a day, that it would sort of become this anxious, anxiety inducing, potentially ruining the day or governing the day kind of metric. And then you have to like realize, okay, if the purpose of this was health, like if the idea is that walking more is good for your health, 10,000 steps a day is good for your heart. What is also not good for your heart is stress and anxiety. That is literally a counterproductive emotion to experience if what you're trying to do is maximize your health. And so really is this balance between your relation, like, can you have a relationship with these tracking devices that is actually promoting holistically the thing that you're trying to get it to promote? Or are you actually like developing anxiety, neuroticism, like things that are going to detract from your life in your quest to be perfect on your fitness device? Like getting anxiety over not meeting your step goals is kind of nuts.
It is kind of nuts. And it's also not to be a conspiracy theorist and say all these wellness companies and biohacking device companies are out to get us, but the more you use them, they want you to use them as much as possible, right? They want you to be checking how many steps you've taken today. They want you to be like, they want to ping you with notifications and just have you be as engaged as possible and buy as many add-ons as possible, because it all helps their own bottom line if they can if they can say like, the person who has one of our devices on average is looking at our app, I don't know, 20 minutes a day, like looking at their various metrics and how many hours they slept and how many steps are walking and things like that. So they all stand to gain from basically making these apps and devices as addictive as they possibly can. I think that the notion of like meditation apps having like have a streak, like build a streak of meditating, and
Mhm.
oh, you don't want to miss like that one day because you've got 14 days in a row and you're going to hit a new milestone if you do a 15th meditation, or whatever it is. It's so twisted in that way because they know these are kind of tactics that are proven to make people engage more and to care more about the outcome and the data than what, say, the meditation is actually doing. If it's a thing that you're just like checking off a list,
Yeah, exactly.
it's is that really, I don't know, is it better than nothing? It's probably better than nothing, but the sort of hold that all of this can have on you is that's its own measure of unwell.
It really is, and it makes me wonder how much, like, we've talked about this before, but how much seeing the metrics can actually cause you to rewrite your own history or rewire how you see. Like, you could think, oh wow, I wake up one morning and I feel good. Like, I slept well. I feel like I have good energy. And then you look at your Oura ring or your like watch, Apple Watch, and you're like, oh my God, I apparently scored really low. I didn't sleep well. And what do you do with that? Are you then going to go throughout the day thinking, I'm pretty tired. I definitely didn't sleep well. It's like, whereas if you hadn't looked at it at all, your initial reaction, how you felt in the moment was like, yeah, I feel good. So we're actually letting some
Yeah.
of these devices tell us how to feel. And we're sort of going with how the device tells us to feel instead of how we actually
Right.
feel.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what happened with me with the Aura ring, and why I stopped wearing it. I think it's also, I don't know, it really it goes back to some of the I'm thinking about Bartlett's comment about like tying it to wine, and not necessarily like, because he didn't say, "Oh, I had a great night out with friends," and it derailed my life for 3 days after
Mhm.
that. It's like tying it to this specific, to I think it's absolutely fine if people don't want to drink, but you're talking about a beverage, a tradition that has been around for 6,000 years of people coming together over a fermented beverage that, for whatever reason, millions of people still enjoy doing this thing. And it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be healthy for you. It doesn't have to make you better at your job, but it can make you be a little bit more social. It can make you be a little bit more empathetic. It can just be something that you enjoy. You might enjoy having a glass of wine, and there might not have to be a purpose tied to it beyond that. But this idea that like every social interaction should have a purpose, or every, if I'm eating to fuel my body and I can't drink something or consume something unless it's doing something that's measurably good to me. I think it's just a really, you take away the sort of intangibles that can happen when you lower your guard a little bit and just like stay open, stay curious, and don't try to schedule every minute and make every minute of your life attached to something else. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, it does strike me as very sad. It strikes me as sad that like we can, even something like having a night out is now, or having, having a nice dinner with your friends is like, well, yeah, this is gonna like derail me and interrupt my
Yeah.
routine, and this is not something that I should be doing. I should be so focused on being productive, and just eh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, why are we not? It really makes you think about what we define as productive. Like,
Yeah.
am I going to say no to getting dinner out with my friends because it's 7 p.m. and I've only, according to my Apple Watch, hit 5,000 steps, so I have to do 5,000 more. So, oh my God, I can't go to dinner. I have to walk. Go for a walk instead. Like, maybe that's the right call if you've been going out too much and you are generally not walking and you're like, okay, you know what? At some point I need to just like put up a boundary and say, I'm not going to go socialize, or I'm not going to go watch a movie or do whatever I was thinking of doing. And in exchange, I really need to focus on walking or whatever activity it is that I'm viewing as productive. But generally speaking, this concept, I think it's because the concept of moderation goes out the
Yeah.
window with a lot of these tracking, like optimization
Sure.
concepts. And so I think there is room to optimize with a moderation driven mentality. Like there is space for that, but that's not what these apps are trying to get us to do. Like you said, they are wired to get into our brains to make us have really high targets and like really focus on extremism instead of moderation. But there is
Right.
definitely a way to, there's a healthy way to use these things if you know if you choose to and are capable of using it this way within a moderation framework to say, okay, like I'm going, yeah, like I didn't meet my step goal this week. Who cares? Look at how awesome the last 5 days I've met it 3 of the 5 days. Like this is
Right.
great. And like, you know, or
I had a good
yeah,
reason for not. Yeah.
I had a good reason for not. Like I wear an Apple Watch and I use it mostly just to track working out. And there are lots of things I like about an Apple Watch, lots of convenience things, you know, being able to like get text alerts and stuff, especially if I'm, you know, not near my phone. But I mostly do use it for working out. And just yesterday, I was noticing I have a little walking pad, and I was noticing that I actually like enjoy. I don't know if that's the right word. Probably enjoy. Yeah, enjoy like walking on the walking pad more if I'm just listening to something, or if I'm
Mm,
watching like I was watching the basketball game, if I'm doing something like that, because then my mind can still wander. Whereas
sure.
sometimes when I'm watching a show, like that was originally what I was trying to do. So I was like, oh, when I need to walk on the walking pad, I'll put on a show. But when I'm
Yeah.
watching a show, it's almost like it requires so much focus that it makes the walk
Mm,
feel less fun. And I don't know, it just doesn't. And I was actually looking at the metrics here to see, like, yeah, actually, I am noticing that I'm walking like a little bit longer and a little bit faster when I'm just listening
interesting.
to something. And I think it's because I'm enjoying it more versus the show where I'm concentrating and it just makes the whole thing feel longer because I'm not able to kind of like get distracted in the way that I need to. So I think there can be little functionalities like that where you're like, oh, like, you know, there's some, it's cool to kind of see the evidence and like whatever, track and measure. But yeah, it is problematic because there are times, I think I've joked about this before, where I'm like, oh my God, my Apple Watch is not charged. So I just can't work out because the workout's not going to count if it's not
Well,
tracked. And like, okay, that is fully psychotic mentality thinking. Like obviously that is not something I would actually do, but it's not a reasonable way to think about it either. So you like definitely need to be careful with this stuff.
yeah, well, it is a very, there are parts of it that you can pick and choose what actually is going to make sense for you and what you're going to pay attention to. I the thing I did like about the Aura Ring was that it tracked my steps a lot more accurately than my phone because
Mm.
I don't have an Apple Watch and I don't have my phone on me like all the time as I'm walking around the house or going about my day. And I would start to, because you hear the thing about 10,000 steps, which is also apparently completely arbitrary according to
Yeah.
uh, is it physiologists or according to people who
According
actually
to the experts, yeah, the
yeah,
non-Spencer
exactly.
Pratt's of exercising, yes.
Yes. Yes, people who actually study exercise and what the human body needs. It's a metric that someone came up with long ago that just sort of stuck. And it makes sense for some people. It makes sense sometimes. It is by no means a hard and fast rule. It's just influencers have latched onto it. And now we all think that we should be getting 10,000 steps a day, which sometimes you can't, maybe you are doing it and your devices are not, you don't have one of these devices and you don't have a thing to show
Mhm.
you, but also to read your own body's cues and sort of know
Yeah.
like, hey, okay, yeah, like my back is hurting. Maybe I shouldn't try to run 4 miles today, or, I'm really sore from something that I did a couple days ago. I'm just going to like kind of take it easy and not give myself a hard time about it. I think that these apps and devices are trying to do all of that work for us, when it's not work that we need them to do. This is much more like a human intuition. Like, this is something that I think everyone should be capable of, like, knowing, like, okay, maybe I only slept 5 hours, but that's because I'm in a new city with a friend and we went out exploring, and then we got a great dinner, and then we went to this cool like jazz bar, and then we wanted to get up early in the morning and go for a hike. And
living life.
Exactly. I'm not going to like sleep for 8 hours because I know that that's like the by the book healthy thing that I'm supposed to do. It's okay if I miss once in a while. There was actually, when I wrote about Aura and was talking with one of their executives, and she said, yeah, I just completely ignore my score sometimes. If I'm going out, if I'm having like a weekend, like a weekend in New York, or because I think at the time I was in New York for the weekend, and I woke up and one day my score was like a 37 out of 100, which was the lowest that I had ever gotten. But
You're
it was
still
because
alive. Okay.
yeah, I had a really long dinner with a bunch of friends and had a great time, and like went to bed late, and that's what happened. But yes,
Where's the
exactly.
fun tracker? What's the metric for that? Yeah,
I know.
I think like this obsession, this is one of those things where I think we're going to start to see a little bit of like an unwind, not necessarily backlash. I do think the tracking stuff is still going to have a large demand, but I think we're starting to see, people say, let me just trust how I feel. Like, have I, do I need to get up and move, or do I need my Apple Watch to tell me that I need to get up and move? And you don't want to lose that intuition. You don't want to lose the ability to recognize that your body is craving movement or is craving rest because you're relying on an app to tell you what you actually need. But yeah.
Exactly. And you also don't want to, I don't know, the notion of sort of like producing, being productive, and being like having tangible outputs at all the time, and being able to say like, here, like, I accomplished XYZ. It's like there are times where, I don't know, you have to be able to take off your headphones, take off your devices, like, just maybe you go for a walk outside, and you're like, you know what, there's like no real, I'm just doing this because I actually did this morning. It's like, okay, you know what, the easier thing to do would be to walk on my treadmill at home. That would be the most efficient thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to go outside right now. It's nice, it's beautiful, it's breezy. I'm gonna put on socks and shoes and like lace up and go and walk over to the park and not pay attention to how fast I'm going. I did still start Strava. I know exactly how long this walk is. I know how long it is.
Yeah.
But like, this is
we all do it. We all do it.
We all do it. This is the two sides of the coin. As I'm saying, there's no real purpose for it. There is, in my mind, it's like, well, no, I mean, walking in the morning is good. And like, this is like a sanity walk, and you just need to like get outside and get a little bit of sun, and like, this is going to be good for you. So it is a whole balled up mess of optimization.
Why have we done this? We've done this to ourselves. Like, these are not thoughts that like our grandmothers had. Like, we have done this to ourselves.
No.
But I did want to update you on sleeping, because remember last time?
Yes, I was going to ask.
Yes. So speaking of optimization, no, I didn't track it at all, but on pure vibes only, I would give myself like, I would say the majority, I wasn't perfect, but the majority of the nights this past week, I did not turn to my phone in the middle of the night. I did like go to bed at a reasonable hour. I did I took like my supplements, my magnesium, all that kind of stuff, the majority of the evenings. And yeah, like I would say there was a noticeable improvement. Um, but there were also nights where I still woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't help myself and got on my phone. So still a work in progress, but I kind of like the fact that I don't wear anything at night to track my sleep, because I really think that would F with my mind a lot, since usually in the mornings I'm like, I gotta go. I have so much I have to do
Yep.
that if I start to like start it off on kind of a bad note, like it's like getting a report card with the C, like it's just not the right like way to start the day, like mindset
It's
wise.
not.
But yeah, I'm like making little small improvements. So we're gonna keep going on this route and see if I can keep it up. Keep it up.
When you said pure vibes only, I thought that that was the name of another app, like that
Oh,
it was like a sleep tracking app because of all the conversation about optimizing and
it
keeping
probably is. It probably is an app.
but
So
that's look, I think actually pure vibes only is as important of a way to track these things as anything else. It's like if you wake up and feel like, hey, yeah, I did sleep better. I got up once last night and then I went right back to sleep. Like I didn't and you said you are charging your phone in a different place.
not in a different place, but I was just
Okay.
it's next to my bed on
Got
my
it.
nightstand, but I was like intentional, like when I woke up, about not picking it up
I
most
see.
of the nights. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Work
that's
in
good.
progress. Yeah.
Listen, small, slow and steady, small steps. It's all good. It's yeah. It takes a while. I mean, look, these devices and apps have wound their way into our life and completely infiltrated us. And this culture of needing to be on all the time is not easy to absent yourself from. It's
Yeah, it really isn't. It
yeah.
really isn't. Well, I'm about to take a big step later this evening because I'm getting a haircut. So you're going to see a different looking me during our chat next week.
Ooh, are you doing anything drastic?
Yeah, I'm kind of really nervous actually.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
getting my first official curly hair haircut, which is like a whole, thing.
Yeah.
I spent probably an hour on TikTok looking at all, this new industry that has developed around curly haircuts. And yeah, I figured why not? If it's hair, it'll grow back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing that happens with a lot of these cuts is to make your curls healthy. It ends up being really short, and like results
Oh,
in like the curls tightening. So we'll see how that goes.
are you
Yeah.
going to give the stylist have you met this stylist before, or this is the first time?
No, this is the first time. I
Okay.
found her through social media, and yeah, she's I think, I don't know if that's all she does, but she definitely specializes. Her entire Instagram feed is just curly haircuts. And the curls look really different than mine. They look really healthy. Part of me also just wants to see all of the products that are used to like
Sure.
achieve the really lush, healthy looking curls. But yeah, I might have like short, curly hair, like much, much more curly hair during our next chat. We'll see.
It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna look so good. I yeah, it's and again, yes, it's hair. It's always gonna grow, but I think this is great. Yeah, you're inspiring me to want to do something. I've been wanting to like cut at least like this is all dead and like really needs to go. But uh to optimize for curls, different sort of optimization. I am a big fan of that. Yes, I would love to be brave enough to do that too.
Yeah, well, we'll see how I definitely feel nervous, but I'm excited too. I mean, I think part of it, we've talked about this too, just us like personally, but it's hair is such an easy way to change your look. I feel like I haven't changed my look that much over the years. Like
Mm,
I think certain things, maybe I do my makeup a little bit differently or, whatever, but generally speaking, like we've had the same hair since we've known each other, like for,
Completely,
25,
yes.
25 years. We probably know how to style it more, but we've never really experimented with different hairstyles, or even like with the same hair length. It's almost always just like down. Like there's some people who will like half up, half down, like do lots of different
Yes.
styles. It's like for lack of skill or lack of interest or whatever it is, I don't even do that. It's like my hair is always the same. So I figured it was about time to just, yeah, try something different. And I'm trying to embrace more of like the natural, and curly hair, I think is definitely getting, I don't know. Part of it is just like we're seeing a lot more of it and how beautiful it
Yeah.
can look, and how just the media's sort of attitude towards it in the past, where we used to think, oh, hair needed to be straight. Like, you always wanted the thing that you didn't have, and the Western standard of beauty. Anyway, all of that whole journey has led me to now getting my first curly haircut. So I will
I'm
send you
very
a selfie.
Yes, please do. Please do. And I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it on video next week.
Yeah, we will chat with the new curly haircut me next week. Yes.
Amazing. Well, enjoy. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you
Thanks.
soon.
You too. Talk soon.
All right.
Bye.
Love you.
Love
Bye.
you.